Okay.
And then we can pin it.
Great. I think I have it going live here. Lost you. Okay. So I'm going to put it on speaker view. And welcome everybody to self-publishing on Amazon.
Hello.
So much fun. We're with Djemilah, Birnie. We're going to go through like what it is, like KDP and, you know, reasons and all that kind of stuff first. And she's going to show us how to actually put something on Amazon that I've made. So, and then at the end, if there's, you know, if you have questions at all throughout, just throw them in the chat. But I'll let Djemilah take over since she's the expert here.
Okay, hi you guys. My name is Djemilah Birnie. I am the founder of Becoming the Big Me, and I'm a multiple times best-selling author. And I am here to help share with you guys just the basics of publishing on Amazon. Amazon is a really fantastic tool as an independent business owner. For getting your work out to the world. It is very cost effective. A lot of people think they have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to get their work published, and that is just simply not the case. You just have to know where to go, where to click. I really like to use Amazon publishing specifically for creating assets for community, workbooks, journals, different things to go along with if you have like an online course or you have different digital offerings. It's very nice to add on something like a workbook or a calendar to kind of go along with your program so that you have something tangible that you can send to people that is very professional and put together. So that is what we're going to be doing today is Tanya is going to be publishing her workbook on Amazon, and we're just going to kind of go over some of the best practices, some of the things that you might not know, just trying to go through the process yourself, because there are a couple of little tips that I've learned throughout the process, such as adding category information and how to actually do that process. And if you want to check out the SOP as well as we go along with this, I did drop that link to the Google document. You can save that. You can use that as a resource for going back to as well. And it really just kind of gives you some of the important links that you need and just a general overview of the process of self-publishing on Amazon. So that's kind of like my little spiel. There are so many different benefits to having your own book and putting your work out there. Not only does it offer you different levels of credibility, different ways of exposure, and if you are a small independent business owner, Amazon is going to be one of the most cost-effective ways to do that. There are other choices if you want more of a widespread distribution, and just to kind of depending on what your goals are. The main option that a lot of self-publishers use is Ingram Sparks. It is also a drop shipping company, so you don't have to invest in inventory, but there are some additional fees, and the process is a little bit more complicated. So this is just kind of your intro to self-publishing using Amazon's KDP program, and you can do it completely for free, pretty much. And there are some things that I would maybe suggest buying, such as your own ISBN number. I have links to where you can purchase that in the SOP as well. If you are doing a book that you would like to potentially get wider distribution, you definitely want to invest in that ISBN number opposed to just using the free ISBN number from Amazon. Your ISBN number is basically your book's social security number. It's what tracks your book. It's what allows it to be put into inventory and all of those good things. However, if you're just playing around you can get a free ISBN number from Amazon, but it is coded differently than when you purchase your own ISBN number. So in certain cases, that is something that I would definitely suggest investing in, is the ISBN number. And really, I think we should just kind of dive into the process. And I don't know, do you want to share your screen and we'll just kind of show people where to go? So first, you want to use Amazon KDP, or actually, should I open this document and share that first?
Sure. Yeah, you sent me,
Okay.
so I have the PDF in Google Drive. Do I need to download it from there?
Which PDF? Your actual book formatting, or?
Yeah, the one you sent me.
Yeah, I think we should walk through the process with the original PDF first, just to kind of show them some of the things that might happen when they're going through the process, and then we will use the one that I created second to actually go through.
Okay, so hold on, I've got my Zoom disappeared. Okay. View. Okay, so share screen first and open up. You want me to open up my PDF, the original PDF?
Yeah.
With the issues here. You're gonna, you guys are gonna see just how disorganized my system is here. I guess I should just call the burnout guide. There we go.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things to take in mind, to take into consideration when you are going to publish your work. The first one is creating the content and creating the formatting. The formatting can be a little bit annoying sometimes, just to have everything aligned properly. There's different programs like this. I think this was just made in Canva, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so Canva is actually a really great tool where you can make workbooks, you can make calendars, you can make all of these different resources. Now, Canva, I think it does have some limitations, like it can only be 100 pages. I think your document can only be up to 100 pages, but I have actually used Canva for documents that are bigger than that. I just make them into separate documents and then use the PDF combiner to combine the documents. If you are a little bit more graphically inclined, Adobe InDesign is really kind of the standard for magazines, books, and design, but it is going to be a little less user-friendly than Canva. So we're just going to kind of talk about using Canva at this point.
Yeah, I tell you, I do, like, I knew nothing about design. I learned everything through Canva. So if I want to do something more in depth, I'm going to outsource, but I actually just took a template and designed this. So anybody can really design something through Canva, and it's very inexpensive. So if you're looking to stay low budget, then it's a great option.
Yeah, it really, really is. And the other thing to take into consideration when you are publishing on Amazon is that you do have to have a minimum of 24 pages. That is something that Tanya and I had to work through a little bit as well. You can't just publish like 2 pages or something like that. It does have to be a minimum of 24. Now, I have used, when I did my kids' books, I actually designed those. I had them illustrated. And then when I got the illustrations back, I actually did the book formatting in Canva for my first couple of kids books that I publish on Amazon. For my actual chapter book, I did use a different formatting tool because it was less picture heavy, and I actually used the Amazon Create space, which is not real. They have switched that over a little bit now, so it's not Amazon Create space, but I do have a link to the Kindle Create, which is their in the SOP. There is a link to that. That is their current formatting to get the formatting right, so it works for both printing and for Kindle and ebooks. The one thing with that is I would suggest formatting in Word first, because it is not conducive for really making edits, and you can only download that file in the specific like Amazon file, so you cannot use it for anything else. If you were to decide later on that you want to upload to to Google Books or to Ingram Sparks or something of that nature, you would not be able to do that with that document. So I really suggest, if you're doing a chapter book, to format in Word first, and then if you want it to be able to work on ebooks and work on all of those things as well, then just copy and paste it into the over into the Kindle Create.
Okay. So this is the one, did you want me to upload this one into into Kindle to show the formatting issues? Is that what you
Into
want me-
Amazon? Yeah, so the first step is you have to make an Amazon Kindle KDP, Kindle Direct Print account. So if you want to kind of go, you already have one of those set up, correct?
Yeah, I brought it up here so we can look at that. So here's the page. And I have, you can create an account. So I have mine. Let's see. Okay, it's saved. Luckily, I love when it's saved. Okay. So this is what it looks like inside my bookshelf. I have my journal that I've already did, and then I'm working on a children's book here at some point. So, yay.
Yeah, and there are a couple things. You don't have to go there because I don't want it to show like your personal information. But if you scroll up to the top and you go to like your account, before you can actually get to the publishing page, bookshelf, which is where you are go to create your pieces to publish, there's some tax information, just some general account information that you have to enter. Yes, children's books are also 24 pages. And so there's just like some of that general information that you're going to have to give them, one, so you can get paid from them, and two, just so everything is set up properly. So that's your first step, is you want to actually make your Kindle Direct Publishing account, and then go to your account and make sure that all of your tax information, your banking account information, all of that stuff is in there. And once you do that, it's really quite a simple process. You just go to your bookshelf, hit create. Now, Amazon used to only do paperback and ebooks, but they have also added the hardcover options recently as well. You do have less formatting choices for hardcover, and I think they only come in a couple of different size options, but that is a really awesome addition to Amazon. It's something that has not been available in years previous. So that is, and it's actually really good quality. I ordered a couple different hardcover journals and notebooks, and I was pretty impressed, I gotta say, for their hardcover beta. But right now we're going to do a paperback.
Okay.
So to begin with, you're just going to kind of go through just some of the very, very simple information about your book. So the book title is The Burnout, Mom Burnout Guide.
Does it matter? I think, did I change it to workbook? I don't know if it matters, guide or workbook. I can't remember now.
What is the workbook?
Okay. Semantics, I just have trouble with that. Okay. Oh, there's Karen. Welcome. Ashley and Liz, welcome everybody. Put your questions in the chat anytime. We'll try to get to them. Okay.
Yeah, it does the Mom Burnout Workbook.
Burnout
I
workbook.
believe.
Okay.
You have both actually, but what I have in the final ones are workbook.
Okay.
So.
First drafts.
Right.
I don't need a subtitle.
No.
Okay.
Not a part of the series. You can do a series, which is really fun.
And then I put my name here.
Yep. And then you can also add contributing authors as well. So like for the book that Tanya was a part of mine, Becoming the Big Knee, The Great Conquest, I added all of the contributors' information down in the contributor information, but this one is just going to be, Tanya. And then we do have a description to write. Did you already have a description for the book, or are we just going to kind of make that?
Yeah. Let's, I don't think I have one. So we can just kind of make one here.
So when you're making your description, you do kind of want to think of just some of like the keywords. We're going to add keywords and those things later as well, but your description does affect your SEO. And so, you know, for this, I would just even repeat the title, the Mom Burnout, now I'm on this, the Mom Burnout Workbook has been created to, and then the purpose of what it was created for. So to help walk moms through some simple exercises to prevent burnout. I'm just going off at the top of my head here. So if you want to make adjustments to that, that's fine.
Let's see, it's been created to identify and prevent.
Ashley, no, it's not that you can only have 25 pages. You have to have a minimum of 24 pages to be able to publish. So you can definitely have multiple chapter novels and memoirs, but you have to have at least 24 pages.
This is where I get stumped.
Okay, the Mom Burnout Workbook has been created to walk you through some simple steps to identify and prevent stress and overwhelm. I'd say, I know that you have like some exercises in gratitude. So like included are exercises in gratitude, self-care, and one more thing.
Yeah, I should have printed one out so I could look at it.
I have.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is.
So it helps you identify your stressors. That's one of your pages. Build connection to things that bring you joy.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude. Ways to build self-compassion.
Also, really practical steps. Let's see.
Practical tools.
To
So one of the reasons why, Liz, I do suggest purchasing your own ISBN numbers and certain things is for copyright, because if Amazon is providing you with the free one, they are the publishing holder. When you register it through your own self-publishing imprint by purchasing an ISBN number through Bowker, which I have listed in the SOP, you are actually listed as the imprint owner. Now, this is because they are doing drop shipping, they are taking a portion. That's part of the service. They get royalties. But if you're buying just author copies and you are selling them by yourself outside of Amazon, it's not like you don't pay them back for that, if that makes sense. You're mostly paying for the service of them drop shipping and printing and all of that, and they take that out of every sale.
So now, you can't edit this once you've already done it?
You can, yeah,
Okay.
You can edit the description pretty much whenever, so we can.
Okay, I can go back and
add more.
Yeah.
So in the description, I do suggest trying to make the description meaty without being redundant. So add information about, add information about yourself as well, and why you created it, what's inside. So we can, for the purposes of this, we can just move on.
Okay. All right.
And so for this, because you created this content, you do hold the copyright for that. So copyright is very interesting. Now, I am not a copyright lawyer, but always seek professional counsel. However, in the United States, copyright ownership really is very weird. You can go and actually pay and get legal copyright, but in the US, when you first publish something and it shows like the publishing date, that copyright is going to automatically be assumed that it's yours. So it's actually something that I was very surprised as I was kind of diving into the rabbit hole as far as copyrighting your material, because even if you haven't gone through the specific copywriting steps, if someone else does take your work, they go by when was the work first published and by who.
Okay.
So some people publish, so like for the public domain work, some people, if you're publishing like, I lost the word for it, but like some people buy workbooks, or they buy books and copy that is like free use for anyone to use. That you would not own the copyright for that. It's not your intellectual property.
Okay. So keywords, is that next? I started. Like,
Yeah, so
good
there
or
are
something?
there are various different tools to do more keyword research. One of which is even just searching on Amazon's book for various keywords and seeing what's coming up, looking at other books with those kind of categories. But for this, I feel like I would say burnout prevention.
Okay.
Stress
management.
Yeah.
Self.
So you want to think about what is, do you want to think about what is being searched, but what is not so simple that you're going to get buried in everything else, if that makes sense. And it's kind of the same as like SEO or even hashtags, using a hashtag ladder on social media, where it's like you want something that's going to be kind of mid-range as far as the searchability goes, because if it is something that has millions and millions of tags, the chances of you actually being found are very, very low. But if it is something that has 100,000 searches, you have a much more likely, like, one, it's still popular, it's still being searched, and two, it's more targeted, you have more of a chance of actually showing up.
So how many words, it says keywords, but how many words can go into one box?
They could be multiple words. I normally keep them at like kind of 2 description words.
Okay. So would stress management be too broad?
It is kind of broad.
Mm-hmm.
We would really like to really get the keywords honed in. We would want to spend some time with a keyword tool, which there are lots of different Amazon specific keyword tools where you can put in your premise. But I think for all intents and purposes, stress management is just for this. And you also have to think, like, what are your goals? What are you using your products for? If you are doing something that's really only shared within your community, some of these different tools and tips aren't as important. If you're doing a children's book, if you are doing something that you actually want other people who aren't just going to be hearing it from you, you're going to want to put more time into researching the best way to write your description that's going to hit the search terms and everything that you want, as well as making sure that you are getting the keywords that are kind of within the popularity range that you're looking for. For a smaller creator, like I said, you want to look for things that are being searched, but it's not like millions of other things in that category, because then you're just going to get buried.
Yes, so the purpose of this workbook is it's actually like a free lead magnet, right? So people that don't know anything about me would grab it and then work through, like, they might not even know which stage of burnout they are, if they're just stressed, or if there's chronic stress, or if they're actually in burnout. So really identifying like where they're at in their motherhood. And then if there's more support that they need, they can find me that way. So that's the real purpose of putting this out there, to, bring in some leads. They can find my website, maybe work with me. Yeah. Just for everybody that's watching the replay. That's why I made it.
And this is something that you had previously as just a digital kind of offering, or like a download or something like that.
Yeah. And I can put the link. I'll put the link with this video because it's free for anybody that wants to print it out and work through it. So I don't know if people would be searching chronic stress.
And I feel like for you as well, like, this would be a good thing for you to have several copies on hand. So if you are doing work in person, it's like I love using books instead of business cards, having something that actually provides value, because typically your author copies, they're not going to be super expensive. So you can kind of give those to people in person to give them more value than they're just going to receive from a business card. They're more likely to actually look at it and not just throw it in their purse and throw it away at the end of the month when they go through their purse.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I actually was at an event where I had my journals, and I actually gave a teenage boy one because he wanted to work on mindfulness, and he was really into it. So I was like, if you'll use this, you can have one. So
I
it's
love
just
it.
really exciting to have that stuff on hand when that happens. So I don't know if gratitude practice, if that would be a good one.
That seems like a good one.
Not a lot of what I do is meal planning and, decluttering, but that's like, that's what I put in there, is just kind of something tangible you can print out and keep on hand. So when you're like, I don't know what to do, I'm overwhelmed, there's a list there. So I don't know if I should put meal planning here, even though I feel like people search for that all the time, but it's not really what it's about.
I don't think I personally wouldn't use meal planning. One, that is I already know, because I have done some different books for clients in those categories. And I know that one, that is very highly saturated, and two, this is not really super targeted to that anyway. So I don't fully see the people that are searching for that necessarily clicking on this. I feel like want to do something about parenthood,
parenting tips, parenting advice.
Yeah, parenting help. Yeah, parenting tips, parenting advice, and then I'm not opposed to even putting workbook in one of them.
Like self-help workbook, or there's probably a million of those.
There is. I would say, I even feel like I had it and it just like flew away from my mind. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote a couple there. I don't know, relaxation training or overwhelm prevention. I just wrote those down. I don't know.
Workbook.
I like that.
Overwhelm.
I like overwhelm prevention.
Thank you.
And one of the things that is nice is that you can actually make adjustments to your keywords, to your description. The main thing is that you can't change the title once it's published. But if you need to add different categories, if you need to add different keywords, you can make those adjustments later on.
Awesome.
Now, so this is a fairly newer thing that they have added as well, is because I noticed that a lot of people were doing journals and calendars and low content books. So they added in the choice to click if it is a low content book, which basically is pretty much blank, because that does not need an ISBN number, because there's not really anything to copyright there. And again, the ISBN number is like the social security number that tracks the book. So this is something that I did not know at all the first time that I published a book. And then as I kind of really dove into the rabbit hole, I realized that so in the portal, you can only add 2 categories to your book, and the categories that they have here are extremely limited. They have very, like, if you actually look to go search for books and you are looking at the different category paths, you will notice that there are way more categories than are listed just in here. In here, you can only put 2 categories, and the categories are going to be very broad. So this is like my biggest like secret tip that I wish I would have known when I published my very first book. But you can actually add up to 8 categories to your book, but you have to do it through a support representative. So you either have to get a representative on the phone or get a representative email address. I kind of explained that a little bit more in the SOP as well. If you can submit a support ticket and say, like, I want to add it to these categories, but you need to make sure that you know how to write the category path, the path for the categories. So how you know the path is if you, when you're searching around, this is where you want to do some kind of research on your own just to kind of figure out what categories your book is going to fit into the best and what are going to be the most beneficial for you. When you are searching, do you want to just go to Amazon, just like Amazon in another tab and go to like the book section?
You can see what Taylor wants for Christmas, a snitch pajama. Okay, books. Oh, geez. My internet slowed down. There we go. Okay.
Okay. So on the side, we're going to see all different kinds of books.
The categories here.
All different categories here. So click on, like, just click on one of the categories.
Okay.
There's parenting and relationships.
Oh.
That's okay.
Children's
So
health.
then see how under health, fitness, and dieting, there's these other categories, there's like these subcategories as well.
Yeah.
Some of the subcategories have subcategories as well. And then some of those subcategories have subcategories. So your category path is basically going to be books, health, fitness, and dieting, and then addiction and recovery. And you just kind of list them out just like that until you get to the final one that you want to land on. This is how smaller creators are able to typically get more bestsellers, because if you are is by actually understanding how to add the proper categories that their books belong in. Because if you are just adding the main overarching categories, you have such a crazy amount of competition that it's really, really hard to get on like the bestsellers or the new and noteworthy or like all of these different things. So this is actually something that really like grinds my gears in a certain ways, because it's how I have seen a lot of hybrid publishers take advantage of small authors by charging them, let's say, a $10,000 fee to publish their book. And then all they are doing, and I've seen this time and time again, and it drives me nuts. That's why I actually created the Amazon self-publishing SOP in the first place. Because all they're doing is going through the self-publishing process, and the only thing that they knew differently is, oh, I just have to phone in to add my 8 categories instead of just having these 2 broad categories, or email in, and then understanding the timings of the category and just like all of these things. Anyway, I could like go off on that because it is something that really has got me worked up over the years to
Yeah, but
witness
there are a
how
lot of people out there doing this self-publishing for people, and yeah, charging an arm and a leg when. So I appreciate your insider tips. So I would just email them extra categories.
So we do have to choose. So you do have to add
Choose.
2 categories right now,
Okay.
anyways. So you're going to be in nonfiction,
Okay.
and then there should be a parenting. I think you passed it.
I don't see.
Maybe not.
I wonder if it's in
I
another.
mean, we can do self. Yeah, and so we can do self-help.
Um,
So they don't really, so that's the thing. They don't really have the categories that we need. So for this, you're gonna do self-help, and then you're just gonna do general, and then we're going to have to do the category research ourselves just on Amazon, and write down the category path, and then submit a support ticket to add the categories, to add the proper categories, and you can add up to 8. And you can say, I want to remove these categories, I want to add these categories, whatever it is that you want. Yeah, the whole category situation is really annoying, because they do not show up here in the same way that they actually show up on Amazon.
Right.
So typically I will just pick 2 kind of general ones as I'm going through this process, and then I will sit down and I will do more category research via Amazon itself, and see and write down the category path, and then submit a ticket.
Okay.
Well,
Does this
parenting.
mean? Yeah, there's parenting. Oh, and then lots of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
So I probably should stick into these.
Motherhood, yeah.
General. Yeah.
Yeah. And it'll only let you put 2 in
Okay.
here.
Yeah, I think for the purpose of this, I really want to target mothers, and so we'll stay in that
And
area.
when you are doing your categories, again, I suggest doing kind of like a stepped ladder. So you're allowed to have 8 categories to your book. I look to have 1 that is going to be more general, and there is definitely going to be more competition for that. But as you rise in rankings in the smaller categories, it affects like the bigger categories. So you can use kind of a step ladder to start to show up more in the larger categories. So I suggest having like 2 to 3 that are smaller categories that are hyper targeted, and then having a couple that are kind of mid-range, and then having a couple that are more broad, if that makes sense. It's kind of like a step ladder is the way that I think of it, is the way that I describe it.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm really excited for our announcement that's coming up for all the coursework we're doing, and that I'm gonna, you'll be there for anybody that's gonna join. I'll be telling everybody about this later, where you can work on something and publish it in our upcoming course. But to have access to you to like ask these questions is going to be so important, because I know I can make my list and then I can send it to you and be like, what do you think? And so we are together something that will have an announcement coming out soon for anybody that wants to join and actually do this, what I'm doing with Djemilah. So
yeah, because once you go through there are going to be questions that come up as you start to go through the process, and especially something that can definitely be a little bit more challenging is the actual formatting itself. But yeah, let's go on to the formatting page actually. So this is yeah, it doesn't have explicit whatever. What are we missing?
It contains an unsupported HTML tag, which I do not see anything.
I don't either. Did you copy and paste anything over there?
No. Is it because I have these like capitalized? I don't know. They need to be though, don't they?
I haven't seen that.
How do I format this?
I don't see an HTML tag in there.
Under 30 days of, is that red on your screen too? Like of has a red mark. I don't,
Yeah. Yeah, why is it doing that? Practical tools for 30 days of cleaning and meal.
I can barely see the screen. I'm like, just like getting closer to the computer.
I don't know. I can try again and see.
Yeah.
That's strange.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I guess. Oh, there is. No, that's the end.
I
I
don't see
would.
anything here.
I don't either. So I would just delete it.
We'll go back and add it later.
Yeah, I mean you have to put something.
So
So I would just, yeah.
um, let's see here. That's so weird. Okay.
Hey.
Troubleshooting. Okay, so assign me a free one. I'm not going to buy one right now. I'm not going to have one right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
And definitely, like, my rule of thumb is if it is like a book, like it's like a chapter book or like a kid's book or something like that, my rule of thumb is buy your own ISBN. If it is a lead magnet, a workbook or something like that, I just use the free Amazon one typically. So you are going to have to, I believe you're going to actually have to use the premium color interior with white paper due to your
colors.
Color and your pages.
Okay.
And then your trim size is going to be 8.5 by 11.
Okay.
And then you're going to do bleed because it has pictures. So bleed is if you have like images that go all the way to the edge of your book, you want to choose bleed.
Okay.
You're just doing a chapter book. I hate the matte covers personally. I have done a couple of them in matte and they show finger grease. So I always do glossy personally, but it's personal preference. If you like finger grease, then go with
Yeah, I think I can show the difference. I did, you probably can't tell on a video, but I did, and we're on, here, let me stop for a minute. This is matte and this is glossy. So, I mean, I haven't seen any grease yet, but yeah, it's just personal preference on,
actually, yours is probably fine because it's a light color.
yeah.
On that one with the dark cover, it just like got so dingy.
Yeah, I think that both of them are nice. Like I was actually impressed with the printing quality. So, whoops, that's not the right one. Okay, glossy.
Okay, and now we get to upload the manuscript. So if you just want to upload the manuscript that you sent me first.
Yeah.
So originally for this workshop, I was going to just have her use the cover creator, and then I opted out of that because I forgot how much I dislike the way that the cover creator typically looks. But you do have the option to use their cover creator if you have no idea how to get the images like the right size to format properly. They just have a basic cover creator. It's very limited as far as design, but you can like upload a picture and like write your description on the back and put your title on it and stuff like that. I don't really like it though.
I tried it with my journal and I got so frustrated that I was like, okay, I have to hire someone to make this cover for me because I am not messing with this.
Oh, so the one that has the 24 pages.
Oh, okay.
But it's not the one that's in the folder that I added you to. Do you have that? Because that's the
yeah.
The cover that I made is.
Well, I must if I sent it to you.
Well, I shared with you the Google Drive folder that has the designed. I'm going to send it in a direct message to you as well, just so you have access to that.
In the Google Drive?
Yeah, I just sent you a direct message with a link to that, just to make sure that you have that. That has the PDF for the cover.
Okay. In the chat, you sent it to me?
Yeah, I just sent it to you in the Zoom chat as a direct message.
I have to stop the share to get it. Okay. So can I just drag this in then? There isn't a way to drag it in.
You got to download it and then upload it.
This is where I am going to share my screen and you can walk me through this, because I know I'm not the only one that's like gonna need help with this. Here it is.
Yeah, so that is the full guide, and then there is cover. So you'll want to download that.
Okay, so I open them
Mm-hmm.
and how do I download this?
You should be, I think you press the 3 little dots in the corner on next to
I
the, like the
tried-
printer, and then download. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I was opening it on my phone and it wouldn't let me do that. So I was like, I'm doing something wrong. Okay, got it. There was no download option. All right, so now we're going back to KDP upload. Oh my gosh.
So when you're so this is where like it can become a little bit tricky as far as creating your cover, because one, it's going to, your design, your final size design of your cover is going to vary a little bit. One, depending on how many pages you have, because it's both the front cover and the spine all in one document. And there is, I am not sure if I added it into the SOP or not. If not, I will add that into it. But there is a calculator that Amazon has for your dimensions, where you can put in how many pages your book is, like what the formatting is that you chose, and the kind of paper that you chose. And then it will spit out what you need for your final dimensions for your cover. And then you can just input those dimensions into a new Canva design and create your cover.
See, if I can do this stuff, anybody can do, because I am like a hot mess on here.
Oh, did you put the new one in the manuscript?
Just
Is
now?
that what you're doing? Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't want you to do that. I just wanted you to put the cover and then show them, because this happens almost every time I go to do a new book. I have this happen. So I wanted to show them what happened.
So you want me to put the cover in first?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you didn't want this uploaded, the manuscript?
I mean, it's okay. We can just tell them.
I'm a bad student. So they're processing.
Yeah, so this is the part that like it can take a little bit for them to process, and then you're going to want to do a preview and launch your previewer. That could take a second to go into the preview section.
While this is processing, I want to show our announcement. So anybody that wants to make something with us, we are offering this course that's going to be living in my vault forever and ever. Amen. But we are in the next few weeks opening up the live intensive part of it. So this workshop is just kind of a preview of what we'll be doing with lots of different topics. So not only will I get to do things with Djemilah, then everybody joining will get to build stuff with her as well. And so, you know, if you're ready to do some more at-home business, whether it be a product or a service, we are going to go through a lot of different things together. So here's the list of building your assets. And Djemilah's mentioned SOPs, standard operating procedures. She has these listed out for everything. So you can do it on your own, but also we will have the live workshops to go through it as a group. And I learn best this way. You could see, like, as I was writing the description of my journal, like Erin chimed in and gave me some ideas. We're gonna have a group Telegram for that, so you can like put your stuff in there and we can all kind of workshop ideas. But if you are hoping to start like a blog or a web page, or put something, you know, self-publishing on Amazon, learning how to get on podcasts, this is all going to be part of it. And not only will you have the course and the SOPs, like the printouts, if you join us in the next month, you will get to do the live part of it starting in January. But I will put the link to this in the chat if you want to read it more. I have a pre-launch price this month. And if you join, like I said, if you join, the sooner you join, the more live workshops you get, because we are going to do some in December, just some previews and some fun stuff. And then the intensive part will start in January. So we will get started as soon as people join in. There will be that Telegram, so you can start asking your questions like ASAP if you're like ready to start doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this because you're going to have access to both of us. Not only are you going to get the workshops and the step-by-step of how to actually do the thing, but you're going to have support while you're doing the thing. Because as you can see, like going through this, sometimes you're going to have different errors. There's different things that are going to pop up. You get to take a screenshot of that, send it, and be like, help. What is this? So what is going on? And the other thing I'm really excited about is like helping you to just organize your standard operating procedures. It is one of the biggest things that small business owners do not have documented, and it is a disaster. It can turn into a disaster when you do not have standard operating procedures documented. One, you start to grow, you start to outgrow yourself, you need to outsource, and you have nothing documented, and now you are paying extra money trying to get people to figure out how you do things. When you start, if you start documenting from the very beginning, it makes your life so much easier. Not only is it easier for yourself to know like the steps that you need to follow to do certain things, but it's also so beneficial when you want to actually outsource, when you need some additional help in your business, or if you, depending on what kind of business you have, if you are building a business to eventually sell and exit, having documented procedures is one of the main things that buyers and investors look at in businesses. So that's something I'm super excited about because it's something I'm really passionate about. I have worked with so many different companies and so many different verticals that just do not have this very basic step, and they end up wasting and spending so much money on things that they don't need to.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Organization.
Yeah, so I've been DIYing my business and not documenting it. So I'm going to be going right along with everybody else, like the things that like on my website and my email, like all the things that just making those procedures so I can tell someone what it is I'm doing. And Erin knows because I've been trying to tell her some stuff. And also, like Djemilah said, I'm going to be there for the emotional support. I have some other guest speakers coming about like self-sabotage, perfectionism, procrastination, like all the things that keep us from going forward. I'll be there supporting the emotional part of it and the mindset as well, along the way. So let's see. And if you have questions, just shoot them in the comments. And I put the link to that course in the chat. So let's see if it worked.
Awesome.
Okay. So I just press save, or do I preview?
Preview.
And it looks like, yeah, we're 3:10, so we'll try not to take too much longer.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to run and pick up my child soon.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I wanted to show you guys is the original document that Tanya sent me. If we were to go through this, in the quality check section, it had a bunch of pages listed because everything was not formatted properly within the dimensions that it needs to be. There is like a 0.125 inch radius from the bleed and then to the margin. So it ends up actually being a 0.25 margin around your edges. That if all of your words are not within that, it will not allow you to publish it because it's not going to print properly. And we had some pages that had some things that were outside of our margins there. And so in the quality check section, it would show up with these pages. And then you just have to go and edit your formatting, download, re-upload,
Yeah.
and just kind of like back and forth.
I had to do that with this. Every single page was past the margin. I had to shrink them in and put it back in. Yeah. So if you know that before you build it, it's really a really good thing to take note of. So do I approve this?
What?
Can I approve this the way it is?
Go just like to the page, like go to the next kind of page, just to make sure. Like and then you can flip through and look through your whole book. So like there was a couple of different formatting changes that I made to this. One, some of the words were outside of the margins, and two, due to it just being the standard size document and the size of the books, we had some white lines happening on the edges. So there was a couple different adjustments that I made there just to make sure that everything, all of the graphics go to the end of the page and all of the words are within the margins. And it looks great. But I always like normally, so like it would not show in the quality check, if the pictures, if your graphics not going all the way to the edge of the page. It's only going to show up in the quality check if your words are outside of the margin. So I always like to flip through manually to make sure like, okay, it all looks good, because the AI is only going to pick up on so much. So yeah, so that's
like
great.
This won't print this edge, right? That's what you're saying, this photo.
Yeah.
Edge. Okay. And this is the margin, the dotted line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So because if you look, if my journal, I had some of the words outside. So yeah, you have to just make sure you have that right when you're building it. And I used a template for this. So if you're choosing a template, that might be part of the issue as well. Okay.
Or to, like, if you accidentally choose no bleed, but you have images going to the edge of the page, it's going to tell you that everything is wrong, because without bleed, it wants everything, every single piece of thing to be within the certain size.
So we're
Okay.
just gonna go through the cost and stuff, and yay.
Yeah. Yeah, so then it tells you how much it's going to cost you to print each book. Because this book is on this is like the most expensive paper that I had to use for this book. So the printing cost reflects that due to the full color and all of that.
Yeah. And you're able to, okay. Yeah. Is there a way to do a ebook too? Or that I would have to make that separate? Like,
you do that separate, yeah.
okay. So I'd have to do this process over again and pick ebook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then I just choose my own price here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want it to be very much. But it has to be cost, right? Like it has to be at least at cost.
Yeah, so your minimum, it
Well, right
says, is
there,
$6.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. I like to do numbers like you did 1111 for our book here. 1111. But I don't want
So it has to be so 8. So it's like you can do either $7 or like $6.99, $6.95.
Okay. Yeah. And
And
that
so this
you.
is like, yeah, this is really, because this is just a lost lead. This is a lead magnet. You're not going to make a ton of money off of most books. You can probably, the average like royalty amount for even like full-blown books is going to be like $2 to $3 per book. So when you are putting your work out there in that way, you really want to think about what is the purpose behind it, because getting rich off of just selling books is very challenging to do. So how is that going to help your business? What is it used for? Is it helping lead someone into another offer? Is it just helping you if you want to obtain speaking engagements? Having a book can be a very beneficial thing to have. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, this is not a money-making thing for me. And I like to price my books low so that people buy them and find out who I am. So, and they're out there to help people. So it's
then it goes
interviewing.
through the process, and it typically, it takes like 72 hours. I'm going to have to just kind of wrap this up here because I do have to go. But if you check out in the SOP that I linked into the chat, there's a couple other things that you can do while you're waiting for this review process to go through. One, email support, get in contact with support to get your additional categories added to the book. 2, I forgot to say this though, you're not going to be able to edit the description while it's under review, but you can edit it after the review because everything freezes while it goes under review. one, you're going to want to get your category research, email contact support for them to add your additional categories to your book. Two, if you don't have a, what is it, Amazon, I linked it in the document, Amazon creator account, an author essential account on Amazon, you're going to want to make and sign up for an author essential account so that you can actually track your sales ranking and see your sales reports through there. And those are kind of the things that you want to do while you're waiting. And that's just like the basics. There's so much more that we can dive into, like especially when it comes to actually marketing, actually selling, getting the word out there. But this is just like the step-by-step basic process for publishing on Amazon. It really is something that is available for anyone. What I say is that you can direct and publish it, because honestly, like the hardest part is writing it. So if you're already writing something, if you're already doing that, you can publish it, and you do not have to pay someone $10,000 to just walk through this very simple process who aren't even going to buy you an ISBN number.
Yay. Yeah, and if you're like, this is too much for me, I have something I want to put on there, Djemilah, please do it. She has that service as well, so because that's where I'm at sometimes. Like, just someone else do it.
ISBN number is around $125 for one ISBN number. You can buy a pack of 10 for about $4.95. So depending on what you're doing, it's obviously 10 is, that's what I would buy them 10 packs, just makes more sense than 125 per. But if you're only doing one, yeah, it's around $125. The last that I bought them. Yeah, and so like I love to help people with this whole process. I understand that, you know, some of the things that I think are really easy are not necessarily easy for other people, and that's totally okay. I have spent hundreds of hours inside of this program. Yeah, thank you for coming, Ashley.
Thank you for being here.
And even if you're like, I don't even know how to like even begin to think about like putting together like a workbook or any of that, some of the things that I do for my clients is I will just I will do Zoom calls with them for an hour where I just ask them questions, and then I fully create their workbooks and publish them for them completely as well. So that's some of the things I can help with if you need it, but if you don't, you can 1000% do this process yourself. I have so much faith. It just might take a little bit of time to kind of get through some of the steps, but
we're hoping
I really want I'm super passionate about people just being able to get their work and their words out there. And so if you like don't have the funding for someone else to do it, but you have the time and you have the drive, you can totally do it.
Yay. Thank you so much, Djemilah. Yeah, and I have the drive, but then sometimes I need a little hand holding. So thank you for doing this with me. And we hope to be able to, you know, bring some other people through the hand holding process through our collaboration. So
yeah, I'm super excited. Thanks for having me on. I have to hop off. I gotta go.
Yeah, I hear the bus too. So.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.